Hey guys, it's gonna get loud for a little while, but I just want you guys to know that I am on. So let's just give this fire truck a little bit. Hey Jennifer, hey Isha, hey Kimberly. Hey Katrina, hey Dawn. Hey AB. Hey, hey, hey. Hey Tomar. Long time no see. All right, the fire truck is almost off the block. Thank you guys for your patience. But that's one of the things is, when you do a live outside, hey, you just got to be ready for anything. So I'm so happy that you guys are joining me on today. It's beautiful here in New York. For those of you in New York, how's the weather where you are? Hopefully you guys can hear me good. We're going to jump into this because I'm not going to be on long today. I say that almost every week, but seriously, I'm not going to be on long. Yes, Tomar, inbox me. We'll talk, and I'll see how we can connect and make that happen. Hey guys, invite somebody, share this, let somebody know that you're on with me today. Leadership Coach Ramsay. Oh, it's 95. I envy you. I don't know where the summer has been all summer in New York. I mean, it's like on a hiatus. I need it to come. I want it to be hot, hot, like unbearable hot. That's what I want. Then it feels like summertime to me. Hey, Pastor Frederick, thank you. Pastor Fred, thank you for joining me today. Hey guys, invite somebody, share this, let them know that you're on with me. We're about to jump into some juicy things to talk about today. One of my favorite topics is asking the right questions or asking great questions. I was reading this book by John Maxwell, and it says good leaders ask great questions. And so, because we were just talking about communication, because a lot of people communicate, but very few people connect. And so I wanted to just kind of talk about it a little bit, and I'm going to give you some background. Oh, Pastor McCrae is on. Thank you for joining me today. And so, I love John Maxwell. He's one of the leading experts in the field of leadership. And so he was definitely talking in that book about communication and connectivity. But I want to dig into this from a different aspect, and I'll tell you why. But those of you who do know me, those of you who don't, my name is Chanel Ramsay. I'm a leadership coach. I'm also the CEO and founder of Power Up Urban Leadership Network. About 4 years ago, the Lord gave me a vision to begin this network called Power Up. And the reason for it is I realized after 15 months of intense training and leadership that there were so many things that I did that was wrong. And then there were so many mistakes that I made that were avoidable. And I just realized that my frustration needed to fuel my passion. And so I turned that frustration into an organization that would help people to avoid the mistakes that I went through and to also be able to help equip leaders. One of the things that I found is that the church really is the only organization that I know that will put people in position without training. And so when you go to work, they give you, on-the-job training. They try to provide you with what you need in order to do the job correctly. Most jobs, not all. I mean, there are some delinquents here and there. But the church, because we are the ones that should be the example, it's important for us to not follow that pattern in any form or fashion, but to actually be at the forefront of training and leadership empowerment. We have the God of excellence living on the inside of us. So how about we demonstrate that excellence in how we do business, how we do leadership? And so the Lord has given me this charge to really raise the level and the standard of leadership among the kingdom of God. And so I'm very passionate about it. And I don't consider myself a leadership expert. I'm just a good student. And I've learned a couple of things along the way that I believe if you apply them to your life, it will help you to avoid those mistakes, and then it will also help you to excel accelerate your course, right? That's the power of mentorship. It helps you to accelerate your course. And so what I've been doing is I do one-on-one sessions with leaders. I come to your ministry, your organization. I consult for ministries. And what is that? Basically is me coming in and I do culture and climate audit. I listen in on your meetings, your conference calls. I sit and I talk to your leaders and I give you some constructive feedback. And then I help you to strategize a plan to get from where you are to where you need to be. How do you know you need a ministry consultant or a ministry strategist or a leadership coach? Is when your reality does not match your vision, okay? Or when your impact is not matching your intent. And so when there's a gap between those two things, that is a time for you to call in a leadership coach. Or when you're frustrated, you're overwhelmed, and you're at the point that you want to quit, but that's not grounds for quitting. It's time to take a step back, reorganize, re-strategize, and then take a more effective step forward. And so I love what I do. I love being able to pour into help people to strategize and figure out what is the plan. We've been talking these past couple of weeks about strategy for success. Why? Because any meaningful success has to have strategy. We've been talking about the shift these past couple of weeks. And so if you have not been a part of that conversation, I invite you to go onto my Facebook page, find those videos, watch them, take notes, do what you have to do to get the information that you need, and then inbox me, hit me up, call me, text me, reach out to me. The number for our organization is on there as well. You can go to coachramsay.com. and you can actually reach out to me to connect so that we can have a lunch. Let's talk, let's strategize. Upcoming, hey Nadine, hey Serena, thank you guys for joining me today. Harrison, thank you for joining me today. Awesome, thank you guys. Don't forget to share, invite others, because we're about to jump into some content that I am excited about. All right, make sure you share. This upcoming Saturday, we're having our ministry leaders networking and game night. It's our mixer. I'm so excited about it because it's an opportunity for leaders to get to know other leaders that are in your area of your field of work, and then also in your area, your region of the city. And sometimes we just don't fellowship. We just kind of stick with the people we know, the churches that we know, and we don't really step outside to meet people. But this is a safe environment to meet some people and then to share. You never know who God has ordained to step foot into your life and what platform you're going to meet them on. And then above and beyond all of that, how about leaders just need to have fun? We just need to have a safe space where we could just be ourselves and have some fun. So there'll be great food there. There's a $5 unlimited appetizer menu, honey. These power-up wings, that's what we call them. These power-up wings, y'all gonna love them. But just come, bring somebody with you if you feel a little uncomfortable. I know how that is. It's like, I don't know anybody, and then I walk into the room, and then I got to sit by myself. No, bring somebody with you, but come. It's free. Why not? You ain't doing nothing. Just come on. But be there. I believe it'll be a blessing to you. I believe that you'll meet somebody. It'll be a divine connection. And that has been our testimony with Power Up, that we have been able to foster relationships. We initiate them, and then God has just begun to build on top of them, and they have exploded into great partnerships in the kingdom of God. And so we're proud of that. All right. Now, I done said all of that. Let's jump into why we're really on here today. So our topic today is great leaders ask the right questions. Great leaders ask the right question. So I know that you guys are sharing this and you're liking this. Make sure that you hashtag also great leaders, hashtag right questions, hashtag leadership, hashtag power up. And then also what I need you to do is let me know while I'm talking that something is hitting home for you. There are takeaways. There are things that are sticking, right? There are things that are sticking that we're talking about. And so great leaders ask the right questions. And so I started thinking about this, okay, because this morning I was coaching my client, one of my clients. He's a pastor of a church. The church is about 14, 15 years old. He has it's a thriving ministry. He has his own ministry outside the church, which is thriving. He has a church right here in Brooklyn, New York. And I was coaching him through because he's about to do his one-on-one sessions with his leaders, which I always encourage. Sit down, talk to your ministry leaders, your auxiliary department heads, talk to them one-on-one. And so he's preparing for that. And so what I started to do is I wanted to just lean in and kind of talk him through these kind of conversations and how to get the most out of them. Because sometimes we ask the wrong questions. Have you ever had someone in leadership ask you the wrong question? It's like they come, they inquire, and they ask you a question, and you're just like, where did that come from? Or what was that for? Or just a question that aggravates you to your core. And you're like, okay, really? That's not important. And so great leaders have to learn how to ask the right questions. Why? Because questions demonstrate interest and they make people feel that they matter, okay? Questions demonstrate interest and they make people feel that they matter. And that's really important because if you're going to be a leader, people don't care what you know until they know that you care. Write that down. People don't care what you know until they know that you care. So when you begin to ask the right questions, it demonstrates that you're interested in who they are, what they do, and then it makes them feel that they matter. This is important because most of the people that serve on our ministry teams and our departments, on our auxiliaries, they are volunteers. So we don't pay them with money. So we have to pay them in other ways. We have to be able to pour into them in other ways. And I talked about this in a broadcast, a Facebook Live that I did maybe back in February about how to pay volunteers when you can't give them money. But again, one of the ways is making them feel that they matter, right? Because when you demonstrate that interest and you make them feel that they matter, they understand better their value to your organization or to your company. Now, these principles that I'm sharing with you, again, they're timeless, they're proven, and I don't want to share anything, like I always say, week to week. I don't want to share anything that does not have proof of concept. So I'm not giving you something that just comes from a book. I'm giving you something that I've tried or I know people who have tried and I've watched them through the process. And so again, questions demonstrate interest and make people feel that they matter, which is really important. But here's the thing, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. And that's something my spiritual mom, Dr. Gail L. Johnson used to always tell me. She used to always say, it's not what you do, Chanel, it's how you do it. Because I was one of those people that did the right thing the wrong way. That was me. I mean, I knew it had to be done, but I just didn't do it in a way that was right. And so she would always get on me and say, you have to do the right thing the right way. Hey, Junior. Hey, Kenny. Hey, Dr. Harden. Thank you for joining me. Jacqueline, thank you. Hey, Lisa. Thank you guys for joining me today. Make sure you invite somebody and share this. I hope you're getting something out of this. Because if you're going to be an effective leader, you have to ask the right questions. You have to be careful that your questions don't send people into protection mode. Right? You don't want your questions to send people into protection mode because every word or behavior that invites others to protect themselves from you prevents them from connecting with you. You got that? When every word and behavior that invites others to protect themselves from you actually prevents them from connecting with you, right? The whole point is not to just communicate, but it is to connect. Like I was talking about earlier with Dr. Maxwell. He wrote that wonderful book about good leaders ask great questions. And it was a book on communication. And he said, it's not about communication, it's about connection, right? Because many people communicate, but very few connect. All right, so every word or behavior that invites others to protect themselves from you actually prevents them from connecting with you. So it's not what you do, it's how you do it. Now, here's the thing. If you ask the right questions, you won't have to ask many questions. That's why there's power in asking the right questions. Too many questions block connection. The door of connection swings on feeling understood. Okay, and reflection allows people to feel understood. Okay, so in other words, here it is. If you start asking a whole bunch of questions, people feel like it's invasive. People feel like they're being probed. People feel like they're being interviewed. And then you know the stress that comes with an interview, right? Everybody's not good under pressure. So it provides too much pressure so they can't connect. And that's what you want at the end of the day. You are trying to ask these questions so you can connect. But connection happens through reflection. So some of your questions need to be reflective in nature. And I'm going to give you some questions that I think that you should include when you're having conversations with your team, with your people that serve with you, people that serve under you. And we're going to talk about that. So stay to the end. Don't miss out, okay? Here's the next thing. Questions show respect, but reflections enable connections, okay? To ask a question, of course, that shows respect, because you're saying, I'm not coming to you as if I know the answer, okay? I'm asking this question because I want to learn. I'm asking this question because I want to learn. But now here's the thing. You should also reflect. And how do you reflect when you're asking questions? You can ask questions like, do you mean? Okay, to get clarity on their response, okay? Sometimes, here's the thing. I learned this a long time ago, that sometimes we don't ask questions because we can't control the response. Y'all heard that? Sometimes we don't ask questions because we can't control the response. All the control freak leaders, raise your hand right where you are. Okay, we've all been there. We've all been there. It's like it's called task avoidance. It's like, oh, I don't even want to deal with it. I don't even want to deal with it because, oh, there's a motorcycle, so I'm gonna give it a little time to pass. All right, y'all getting this? I want you guys to hashtag connection, hashtag questions. Let me know that you're getting this, that this makes sense. That this is something that is usable for you. All right, that motorcycle's almost gone. All right, here we go. Back to what I was saying. Control freak leaders, raise your hand now. Okay, we have all been there 1,000 times over. Okay, that's the thing with leading people. It is always unpredictable. Okay, it's unpredictable. You just can't call it. Okay, but sometimes we avoid asking questions because we can't control the response. So what we do is we ask the question in our mind, and then what we do is we assume their response and then deal with them out of that false reality. Now that's huge. I talked about this a couple of months ago about being in La La Land, right? Where we create these narratives and then we deal with people out of the narrative that we created about them. You have to be so careful when you do that because that's not discernment, okay? And sometimes it's fueled even by your insecurities, your lack of confidence in your leadership. You have to realize that you have to ask these questions so that you don't create these scenarios in your mind. You know how we do. You say, okay, I know what they're going to say. I know how they're going to respond. I know what they're going to do. And then you say, okay, I got this scenario in my mind. It's going. So now I'm standoffish to that person. I treat them with a distance. I have an attitude when I see them, and they have not even said anything yet. Because you never gave them a chance to respond because you refused to ask the question. Hey, Nicole. Hey, Elisa. Hey, Carlette. Thank you guys for joining me today. And so you have to be careful that you don't deal with people out of a false reality, something you created in your mind. Now, here's the thing about asking questions. You have to accept, not expect their response. Accept their message. Accept it. Accept it. Acceptance doesn't always mean agreement. I can accept your response to my question and not agree with it. Hey, how are you, sir? Bless you. Thank you guys for joining me today. Brian, thank you for joining me. So again, I can accept something without agreeing with it. So I can accept it, not expect their message. Okay. In other words, don't create the narrative. Just go in and ask the questions. Okay. Number 2, forget your agenda. When you're going in to ask these questions, don't go in with an agenda. Have your list of questions. Be open-minded. Pray for an open heart that you cannot just only hear, but you can listen. And we're going to talk about listening in just a second. Number 3, forget fixing or solving. When you go in with these questions, don't go in with the intention of fixing it or solving it. Go with the intention at this point just to listen. Just to listen, because you're going to be able to, after this point, you need a little time and space to actually begin to formulate what your response needs to be. Okay? Just listen. Okay? Don't ask questions. Here we go. Y'all ready for this? I hope you guys are ready for this because this is something that is going to hit home for a lot of people. Don't ask questions unless you're ready to listen to the answers. Don't ask questions unless you're ready to listen to the answers. So many times we listen with the intention of responding. We're not listening to hear. We're listening to respond. And you have to be so careful. You have to be in a place where you say, I'm going to ask these questions, right? It's time to evaluate. What do I always tell people about evaluation? Evaluation is super, super important in ministry. It's super, super important in corporate America. It's super important in your business if you're an entrepreneur. Evaluation is your power, and evaluation is your value, right? Wisdom seeks clarity, but evaluation actually brings the clarity that you seek, okay? Evaluation is important, and sometimes, especially in the church, because this is why we're asking questions, because it ties into evaluation. Sometimes in the church, we treat evaluations like coroners treat the morgue. They only deal with the dead. We wait until something dies, and then we want to evaluate it. Then we want to look into it. And you have to be so careful that you do not treat your ministry like that. Don't wait until something goes horribly wrong before you evaluate. But you have to realize is that systems and structures actually conspire against you to stay at the status quo. They're designed to stay the same. And so if you don't take the time to evaluate it, you'll never know what needs to change, what needs to shift, right? Like I always tell people, you marry the mission, but you date the model, or you date the method, okay? Because you have to shift. You have to say, okay, I'm listening, I'm asking these questions, because after I get these answers, I know what shift I need to do. I know what strategy I'll need to apply. I'll know what needs to happen next. Okay, so these questions are super important, and we're about to talk about these questions. But before you ask questions, you have to be in a place where you are ready to listen. Okay, there are 3 types of listeners. Okay, I want to talk to you about this. 3 types of listening. First one is transient listening. Transient listening, which means listening while thinking about what's next, not really listening. Okay? The second one is transactional listening, which is listening to get things done. It's important in an organizational life, right? You listen just to get things done, so you can check it off. Hey, I heard them. We're going to actually do X, Y, and Z. And then here's the third one that I love. Third type of listening is transformational listening, which means I'm listening to connect. So it's transient listening, which is listening while thinking about what's next, so you're not really listening. The second one is transactional listening, where you're just listening so you can get things done, which is important for organizations, of course. But the third one is transformational listening, which means I'm listening to connect, okay? Don't begin to ask questions. Don't begin to evaluate if you're not in a place where you say, I'm ready to listen. Now, we're going to speed through this because I've got to go. It's too nice outside for me to be sitting in this one spot. I need to get a tan. Hey, Betty, thank you for joining me. All right, guys, I know you're on. Share this, invite somebody. I believe this is helping somebody on here right now. Let me know if this is helping you. Give me a thumbs up, some hearts. Let me know that this is something that you find interesting. I'm about to give you these questions that I think you should ask. And again, if you want to connect with me, you can go to CoachRamsay.com. You can inbox me on Facebook, all that good stuff. And I will get back to you. All right, good people. Y'all ready for these questions? I hope y'all ready. I hope y'all are ready. Here these questions are. Now, questions are important, right? Because we said that. Great leaders ask the right questions. So here are your questions. The questions need to be focused in a particular area. Don't just ask questions like, how am I doing as a leader? Don't ask those kind of questions. You want them to be more focused. So here we go. So if you're meeting with someone who is over a team of people, right? I have one client, she is in Texas, and she is over 300 leaders. She's from a mega church. And so I think it's 10 teams and 300 people in total that serve. So she has 10 key core leaders that she oversees, and then there's 300 people that are connected to all of those people in totality. And so we always talk about this, team performance, right? Because this is important. Team performance, your auxiliary performance. And this is a question that if you are a ministry director, or you're a pastor and you want to meet with your department heads or your ministry team leaders, whichever one you call them, these are some questions that you want to do. Now, I'm not going to give you all my questions. That's what you need to book a one-on-one session for, okay? And we can go over that. But I'm going to give you 2 questions from these particular areas that I feel are going to help jumpstart the process, and is going to help your memory and jog your thought pattern into the place that it needs to be to fulfill this assignment, okay? Questions that focus on ministry team performance. Number one, what are you learning about your role? So you can ask that team leader, what are you learning about your role? And then number two, what are you learning about your team? These are great questions, okay? What happens in ministry a lot is that you can put on paper what you think that role should entail, but then once you actually start doing it, it looks a little bit different than the job description that was given to you. So you want to ask them, what are you learning about your role? And then what are you learning about your team? Learning is the key word. Why? Because leaders are learners. Number two, here's the next area. Questions of evaluation for ministry leaders. Questions of evaluations for ministry leaders. So that was about the team. Now this is about them. Number one, what brings you satisfaction when you're doing ministry? What brings you satisfaction when you're doing ministry? Why is that question important? Because you want to know, are they in the place of their passion? Do they still have a passion for something that they are doing? Is there a way that they're connecting with what they're doing and finding joy? Okay, the second question is, if things were going perfectly, what would it look like? If things were going perfectly, what would it look like? This question is important because this helps you to understand whether your visions are aligned. If he or she paints the picture of a perfect organizational structure within their team, or how things will flow systematically on their team or in their department, and it does not look like what you expected, then you realize that your visions are not aligned, okay? Here's some questions to ask when a ministry leader voices a complaint or challenge. Number one, what's frustrating you about it, and what does that say about you? Okay? Number two is, what's next? Okay, you want to build into your team, into your ministry leaders, into the people that serve, the capacity to be solutionist, okay? You want to build in them the capacity to solve problems, because that's what a leader is, and not a person who identifies problems, but a person who solves problems. Solving problems is what brings about promotion. Solving problems is what we are here to do. Here's the last one. Questions to evaluate systems. Okay? Systems must be evaluated. Remember what I said earlier? They're conspiring against you to keep you at the status quo. You have to evaluate them to make sure that they are accommodating where you are going and how you are growing. Okay? It is nothing like major churches or large mass organizations operating like a mom and pop. You're like, really? So you don't want to change that? So you still don't have a swipe machine? Like, you have like 500 people here and I could only pay with cash? Like, really? Okay, again, systems need to be evaluated so you can grow, so you can see, okay, hey, we need to upgrade in this particular area. So here's the two questions. Number one, what's running smoothly? And number two, what are you solving? Where are you solving the same problem over and over and over again? Number one, what is running smoothly? And number two, where are you solving the same problem over and over again? All right. I think that's all I have for you. Let me check. Oh, here's the juicy part. Let me give this to you. Hey, Dwayne, thank you for joining me today. I'm going to give this to you because I hear another fire truck coming. So it's about to get loud again. But let me give you this last pointer. And I was right. It's coming down the block right now. All right, guys. Take this moment to plug in, start sharing, start inviting people while we wait for this fire truck to pass. New York City. We pray that wherever that fire truck is going, that the people are safe and that God will just continue to be miraculous and deliver people out of any distress they may be in right now, in Jesus' name. Okay, so here's the last thing. The questions that great leaders ask, the right questions. Here's one of the questions you need to ask when it's time for your ministry team, the leaders that serve you, to evaluate you, okay? They need to evaluate you. You need to have some insight on what people are saying about you. Ask Jesus. He says, who do men say that I am? He went through a time of self-evaluation. Okay, so here's 2 questions that I think would really, really help. Number 1, what am I doing that motivates you? Okay, what am I doing that motivates you? And number 2, what specific behaviors am I displaying that you consider roadblocks to you reaching your goals? Am I displaying those behaviors, or what are those specific behaviors that you consider roadblocks to you reaching your goal? You'll be surprised with responses you get that you had no idea that people considered them roadblocks or like hindrances for them actually being able to do what they want to do and do actually execute what you want them to execute. Sometimes we put up red tape or we create an atmosphere that doesn't allow freedom to execute, and we don't even realize it until people can give you feedback about your leadership. So that's what I wanted to say today. I hope I see you guys on Saturday at 6 o'clock at the Power Up Mixer for ministry leaders, okay? It's a night of networking and games. It's going to be Saturday at 6, and we're going to be at 20 Grand Avenue in Suite 704. It's a great space. It's going to be great food. You're going to meet some amazing people. I met some amazing people, and some of them are on this live right now. So hopefully we can connect. All right, guys, I love you. It's loud out here, so I'm not even going to continue to press it. But please share this. I hope you got something out of it. If you did, make sure you comment below. I want to see your comments. I want to know that you connected. I want to know that something I shared helped you along the way, that you found something interesting. Awesome. Thank you so much, Pastor McCray. Thank you. And I enjoyed your concert / book release / move of God / power of God. I'm just kidding. No, it was amazing. I came and I was really, really blessed. Awesome. I hope you guys can join me. It's going to be amazing. Come ready to play some board games. Come ready, to do what you do. I'm excited about Power Up. We will come to your location. We will do a on-site workshop with you, your church and ministry leaders. We actually have something coming up in October called the Merger. You don't want to miss that. I'm going to tell you more information about that soon. And then in September, we have the Surge Youth Leader Summit. Make sure you go to my page, my events, find it, register, be a part. That's something that we want to pour back into youth leaders. We cover all leadership, and we cover the gambit from every aspect, from pulpit to the door, just because we know that it takes a village to raise a child. It takes many, many leaders to build a church, okay? In fact, Jesus knew that. That's why he empowered the 12. But that's another story. So y'all just come on. We'll be there. We're excited. Great things are happening. I love you guys, and trust and know that I'm praying for you. I'm praying for leaders. I'm praying. Don't be discouraged. Keep your head lifted. Keep moving forward. It's going to get better from here. Listen to the videos. Book me. Book that one-on-one session. Let me be a sounding board. Let me be a person in your life, a confidential thinking partner that can help you think yourself clear and help you strategize for better, right? Because it's better before it gets bigger. All right, guys. Remember, CoachRamsay.com. We'll talk soon.